the performance of the banking sector is going to be mixed. Of course, there are a few banks that are going to be performing fairly well, but there are also others that will be in negative territory in terms of their performance and earnings figures that will be coming in. If you go by the first half results, a few banks actually showed some market gains. Here we are talking about Housing Finance and the Standard Chartered Bank. Probably also the Diamond Trust Bank and the NIC. A few others had registered some drop in earnings, and given the fact that now we are starting to see rains coming in, my view is that we can give them a span of between 3 and 6 months before we can see a complete turnaround and profitability is starting to build up again.
Of course, the major concern, Dexter, when it comes to the banks is that they've been finding it hard to actually attract deposits their way. And with that, interest rates on their end have been kept pretty high despite the Central Bank of Kenya coming in and lowering rates. So how are you reading that situation? Because the Central Bank has certainly put pressure on the banks to lower their rates in tandem with the banks itself.
I think this might take a little bit of time because, so as the analyst from Kenya indicated there, some of the banks didn't have very good results at half year. So there is a little bit of reluctance on the part of the bank to try and lower those interest rates as they're trying to maintain their margins. And turning around these strategies in terms of how they're going to be making money going forward might take a bit of time. So they might not really have automatically change their rates. They might take a little bit more time to adjust their rates accordingly.
Of course, as I said, Justus, we have had the central bank adding pressure on these players to lower their rates. In the meantime, one would expect that with the Central Bank of Kenya itself lowering rates, some consumer-driven stocks like Safaricom and Access Kenya could start reacting to the CBK's rates decision. Have they actually reacted to news like that we often see being the case here in South Africa?
I think the situation in Kenya is a little different from that in South Africa. If I can take you back, in terms of the banking sector, we have seen central bank actually putting a lot of pressure on banks to try and lower their rates. But I don't think that is going to be coming through. The major reasons being, one, banks are limited in terms of the investment options they have, because lending to the agricultural sector right now is a bit of a big issue because, as you know, rains have not been coming in as fast as they should have, and therefore productivity in the agricultural sector has been low. And given the fact that banks will be depending on the returns that will be coming in as a result of repayments of the loans they offer to farmers, for example, I don't think they'll be very keen on offering loans to farmers. A lot of the investments they have been doing has been in government securities, and I think that going forward, that is one of the areas where we are going to be seeing oversubscription in terms of the applications to bond issues. Also, as you asked, for Safaricom and Access Kenya and other organizations that could be looking into, for example, borrowing from banks, I don't think that is going to be happening. In fact, a number of companies are opting for issuing corporate bonds as a solution to borrowing from the markets instead of going for syndicated loans.
Of course, Dexter, you mentioned the landing of the undersea cables and the potential that spells for some of the counters and the industries in Kenya. Safaricom and Access sit right on, the growth potential that offers them. We've got Safaricom nearing the top of its range, and some say that they're seeing a break above 450 moving forward. Are you as bullish on Safaricom?
I think certainly there has been a lot of market movement into the counter. I think last week we saw almost 121 million worth of Kenyan shillings worth of trades happening in Safaricom there. So I think they certainly have issues going forward in terms of how they're going to be structuring their pricing and everything, given the fact that there's quite a lot of competition coming into the market. But certainly the outlook for Safaricom is positive, and rather than look at it as a short to medium term investment, I would more or less classify it amongst the long-term investment options that one should consider. Partly because the sector is at the moment it's just trying to adjust to to the new prices for data and everything, and that's going to take a bit of time. And also we need to see the business models, how they're going to work out with the coming in of the underwater cable.
And of course, as Justus was saying, we're also going to need to start seeing banks starting to play ball with the Central Bank of Kenya itself, lowering rates as well and offering some relief for consumers moving forward.